then you're gonna probably be you're gonna be well off, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're a millionaire. Keep becoming a better business owner, and I don't care. I mean, the college stuff and all that. College has a certain value for sure, but the idea of kind of being a quote unquote college dropout. Just remember, there are a lot of millionaires who dropped out of college, a ton of them. Because college teaches you certain things, but it doesn't teach you certain other things. So I'm not saying college is bad. I'm just saying, to me, that's completely irrelevant relative to what you do with your life, like continuing to go forward. So you're making all the right moves, brother. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, B1.
B1. All right. All right. So I'm going to move on to Frederick. Frederick, I'm going to bring you in right now. So Frederick, get ready. You're on in 3, 2, 1, and go. This is fun. Hey, Frederick.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing
First
good.
of all, I spoke last week. I said how much I enjoy what you're doing and how much I appreciate what you're doing for the Black community. And I've been investing since I've been aware of what you're doing and so forth, and it's helped me a lot. It helped my kids a lot. I've started investing for them as well. Anyway, this is kind of off the subject of investing, but I'm a jazz musician, and for the past 6 years, I've organized a jazz festival, and I wonder if you accept links to videos of my work, and possibly give me some pointers on how to market it and that sort of thing. I just wondered if there's a way for me to get like a YouTube link to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you know what? Since you are a student in the class, I can make those exceptions for sure, because I want to see our students succeed. And so I'll admit I can't take everybody's link, but I will take yours, and I'll see what we can do. Send it over to support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support at theblackbusinessschool.com. And that's generally a line available to anybody that has any questions. If you have trouble logging in or anything's going on with your access or your membership, you can just reach out to them. They're always available to take care of you. But also in terms of marketing the Jazz Festival, I have found it really hard to market without putting some kind of money into what I'm doing. So things like Facebook ads can be beneficial. We have advertising on my YouTube channel, for example, at drboycefinance.com. We have these shout outs, and this is how one of the ways that we try to pay the bills without having to take money from corporations or the government is so we do these shout outs, and we reach 1 million Black people a week. So if that's of interest to you, feel free to go to the URL is drboycefinance.com. And so at drboycefinance.com, you can purchase a couple of shout outs, and I'll shout you out, and I'll make sure everybody that listens to me knows about your platform. But even those who are listening now, they know about it now, or they know about you. Do you have a website you want to mention real quick?
Yes, I have a Facebook page. The festival is called the Dudley Jazz Festival, and you can find it on Facebook. And up to this point, I've been funded by several grants. So I've been writing grants to finance it. But I wanted to make more people aware of it because jazz is Black music. So I wanted more of the general public to know about jazz music. I'm a jazz guitarist. I'm also a teacher in the Boston Public School System. And I just felt that what I'm doing is something that's pretty unique. And I just wanted more people to know about it.
Okay.
I have been successful at getting grant money to do the festival every year. So I've been doing it every year since 2016, with the exception of 2020. So it's going pretty good so far, but I just wanted more people to be aware of it, and also to hopefully maybe duplicate the idea in other parts of the country.
Okay. All right. Well, Frederick, thank you for sharing that. And so Frederick, thanks for coming in, man. So let me say this to everybody. I'll repeat what Frederick just mentioned. It's the Dudley Jazz Festival, and it sounds like he's in the Boston area. Frederick, if you are in the chat, feel free to put any URLs in the chat that you want people to see, or any place that you want them to go. But it sounds like they could Google the Dudley Jazz Festival, and I do agree with him. A lot of Black music gets taken because, and I think I know why it gets taken. It gets taken because and I don't know if it's because we're the ones that just seem to have all the talent in certain areas, and other people are trying to get in where they fit in. But what's happened in the music industry, just from an investment standpoint, is that we have become heavy on the production side of the content, and other people, white folks, Asians, etc. They've become really good at the distribution and the monetization of the product. So what they do is they say, okay, black folks, you go and get creative and you go make the best music in the world, the best food in the world, the best whatever, the best fashion, the best dances, whatever. And what we'll do is we will distribute that, because we will, we're focusing on owning media outlets and all the different distribution channels of these ideas. And then we're going to also monetize it on the back end. So we're going to go and take what you're doing, share it with the world, and make the money. And we might give you a cut, we might not. And so this is where our lack of interest in business as a community, it has kind of harmed us a little bit, or for whatever reason. But when I came into all of this, the way I was able to get ahead of a lot of people that do what I do, there are a lot of people out there that knew some stuff about finance. There are people out there that had something to say. Um, I didn't come into I started thinking about media a lot when I was at Syracuse, because we had one of the best media schools in the world. And the black students would come to me, and the reason they came to me was because I was one of the few black professors, but also they had seen me on TV, and they were like, "Okay, how do you get into media? How do you get on TV?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just got a publicist and paid her money, and she got me on." But what it made me think about is that when we were thinking about media, I realized as a business person, I wasn't thinking about media in terms of thinking, okay, how can I be the most entertaining person in the world? How can I be the smartest person, that they're going to pick? I started thinking about it like, okay, how do I own these distribution channels so that nobody can take away my media access? So that's when I got into building my own email lists, building my own platforms. I was on YouTube pretty early because of that, because I was always thinking like, yeah, I can go on CNN and all that stuff, but they control that distribution, and they're ultimately going to make money from all these great ideas that I'm sharing on these networks. So my goal was to get away from that eventually, so that I could sort of be a part of the whole process, right? So really, generally, so you go back to what Frederick was saying about jazz and the Dudley Jazz Festival. It's we create this amazing music, but we also need those business people who are really heavily invested in the idea of distributing the music and monetizing whatever comes out of that. If not, you're going to always be controlled and feel like you're being ripped off by the music industry, when really it is a rip off, but at the same time, it's really a matter of positioning. If they position themselves and say, yeah, you can go and create all this amazing stuff, and we'll just go sell it to other people, other white people. Well, that's their right to do that to some extent. And we can get mad, we can call it cultural appropriation and all that. But remember, it's your culture. So you had first dibs on the distribution and the monetization of that culture. When hip hop came out in the South Bronx, we had first dibs. If we had, created the distribution spaces and the monetization process, we could have been the one making all the money, but we weren't thinking about the money. We were thinking about having a party, or Kool Herc and all those guys were just trying to be cool and interesting. But one of the few people who actually saw this and were ahead of the curve on this was Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons was thinking about hip hop not just from a production standpoint. His brother was in Run DMC, so they produced a lot of good music. He was also thinking about it from a distribution and monetization standpoint, which ultimately made him one of the most powerful people in the hip hop music industry, because he wasn't just thinking, how do I go in the booth and make a great song? He was thinking, how do I take this great song somebody else made and get it, into the right spaces and make money on the back end from selling records or whatever. So you got to think about that full circle when it comes to a lot of the things that we produce as people. If we don't think that way, then we are going to always find ourselves on the short end of that stick. Okay. So one thing we'll do actually before we bounce out is I want to remind everybody, don't forget, if you log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com, there's training in there on how to get started with investing. I assume everybody in the class has already started buying stock. If you haven't, that's okay. But I want you to commit that you're going to start today, or that you're going to do something. I don't care if you invest $5. Just get in there, get you an app, link your account, begin that process. It's very important that you begin. And I think that what has gotten me thinking about it is that there are a lot of people, or I did a survey on my YouTube channel, and I found that about half of the people that watch me on YouTube are not invested in the stock market yet. And that kind of blew my mind. Now, in the Black Business School, the numbers are different because you guys have been made aware of this for a long time. But I really, really kind of want to just reiterate that. Make sure you get started. Make sure you have a consistent process. So 3 steps. Make sure the app is on your phone. 2, link your bank account. 2, set up some sort of auto deposit at some amount that you can afford. Maybe you could pick a benchmark, like whatever, like the amount of money you might typically spend in a week on fast food or just worthless things. Match that amount. Like, so if you say, okay, normally every week I spend $30 on fast food. Okay, we'll put $30 a week into your investment account. That way you're investing as much as you're wasting. You're kind of balancing the two out, like good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, that kind of thing. Okay. So let me answer a couple more questions that you guys have put in the chat. And let's see. Tavora says, how do you feel about investing in IPO companies like Boxapple, Boxabl? I'm not a fan of investing in any IPOs right now, especially because the IPO market is pretty much shot. So unless there's something real special about this company, I Google it. It doesn't appear to have anything about it that would make me want to go chase it down. I feel like right now it's not a time, in my view, to be taking on a lot of risk. I think now is the time to go toward companies that are safer investments. If you do take on that risk, some of these riskier companies, at least make sure you're liquid and make sure you're ready for the long haul. If you think you might have to sell in the next couple of weeks or next month or two, I wouldn't mess with it. I wouldn't, in my opinion. Mr. Jan Jasmine. Yeah, Jan made sure I know he's a Mr. And I apologize, Jan, for because my mother-in-law's name is Jan, so my apologies on that. He says, Grand Rising, Dr. Boyce, have you ever heard of a wash sale and tax loss harvesting? I came across these terms. Yes, thank you for your help. Okay, yeah. Wash sales and tax loss harvesting basically center around the idea of basically at the end of the year, a lot of people don't know, most rich people don't pay taxes. And a lot of the reason one of the reasons they don't pay taxes is because they know the difference between a realized loss and an unrealized loss. So what they might do is at the end of the year, they might go through their portfolio, have their accountants go through it. I'm not an accountant, so you want to ask your accountant about this, but they will go through and find the areas where they lost money and sell some of those assets so they can reduce their tax bill for that year. And so now wash sale is there's special rules around wash sales. So what happens is that the IRS taxes you more or less based on how long you held the stock. Their goal with the tax code is to incentivize you to invest for long periods of time, at least a year. So if you buy a stock on Tuesday and sell it on Thursday and you sell it at a loss, there's different tax rules that apply than if you held that stock for a year or something like that. So that's where, when you talk about day trading and stuff like that, you got to make sure you have a good accounting system that can go in and really take a look at what you're doing. You don't want to just try to do that yourself. Let's see, Ken Hilliard, I see you have a question about options. That's beyond the scope of this class. I don't want to confuse anybody, but anybody who's interested in stock options and wants to learn how to use stock options to generate income, we have a whole options program that's really good. The URL you can go to is drboyceprime.com. That's drboyceprime.com. And you can actually get a discount there if you'd like to go there. So drboyceprime.com. Prime stands for Passive Recurring Income Machine. And I talk to the students regularly via text about changes in the market and areas. And the number one goal is to generate income from your investments. And we developed that because I noticed a lot of you didn't want to just buy a stock and hold it and make money that way. You actually want to be able to generate regular income from a stock the same way you generate income from real estate or you generate income from a business. Well, stock options allows you to do that. So drboyceprime.com is where that program is. If you're already enrolled, Ken, just log in and there's a Q&A section specifically for Prime students, and I'll answer that question over there for sure. All right, so let's see. Next question is Marco. Is there any help in the Black Business School for estate planning, setting up corporations and trusts? Yeah. We had an estate planning master lecture that someone did. An estate planning attorney came in not too long ago. We're going to do another estate planning class pretty soon. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, support@theblackbusinessschool.com, you can actually find, just ask them, and they can help you identify that master lecture. We wanted to do a whole master class on it, but I think that we got into some other things. But let me see. I'm looking to see here if there's like a whole estate planning. Um, I know there's no entire class, master class, but I know that there's a master lecture. Yeah. So look, yeah, just email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. They can definitely guide you to what you're looking for. All right. So the next question is from Maurice. I know you said only two stocks. I came across Breeze, but I cannot help but ask you about it. It's a new airline company. Yeah, new. That word "new" is to me that's a trigger. I'm not a big fan of new. I just don't think new is good right now. I and personally I think there's enough stable companies to invest in that you don't have to go for new. Now this other company you mentioned, Joby Aviation. Looks like Joby Aviation is a company that is losing money. That's a risk factor. Companies that are losing money are at greater risk when the economy dips, which is going to keep dipping. They're a greater risk because remember, if you're losing money, think about it. If you're not making money, then who's paying your bills? Like who's keeping you alive? Well, it's you. It's somebody else. It's the bank. It's some investor, right? And just like a teenager, teenagers, our kids don't pay any bills. They don't make it. They don't have any income. How are they living? How are they eating every day? Well, they got mommy and daddy. We're the bank, so we're gonna always support them and finance them because that's our job. But the bank doesn't owe you anything. The bank can drop you like a hot potato anytime they want. And what happens is in this environment where interest rates are going up, that means that the cost of financing is going up for these companies. The cost of simply staying alive and doing business is going up. They may be in an environment where they can't keep bleeding cash forever. They may be in an environment where someone comes along and says, either make a profit or you got to shut down. So companies that are losing money are you're rolling the dice when you mess with these companies. The meme stocks, you're rolling the dice. Some of y'all may be messing around a little bit with AMC and all that, and Bed Bath and Beyond. Just know these companies are an inch away from death. These companies are not worth what they're trading for. You are playing a dangerous game with the meme stocks. I'm not saying don't play the game. I play the game sometimes because I know how to take care of myself. Like I can go into the hood because I have a gun and I know where the neighborhoods are and what the street what the streets look like, right? So I'm ready. If you don't know that neighborhood, then you probably shouldn't be in there, right? So here's the deal. The key. This is the last point I'll leave you guys with before we end today is there's always an opportunity to make money in almost any investing environment. There's an opportunity to make money from bad companies. There's an opportunity to make money from good companies. That's why there's always a market. There's always somebody willing to put money into something like distressed property in Detroit. There are people out there that are buying more of that than anything else, right? But then if you look at overpriced property in Beverly Hills, there are people buying that too, right? So it's not like there's any sort of stock you should always stay away from no matter what. It's really a matter of understanding the terrain well enough to know where the opportunities lie, to also have a personal understanding of what risk you're willing to tolerate, understanding what your objectives are. Like if I'm a person who's looking to exit the stock market in the next year, I'm not really going to be messing with a lot of these riskier companies at all. My money's going to be, it might even be in T-bills, where I'm not earning anything on my money because I just want to sit still. I just want to stay on neutral. If I'm a wealthy person who's going to be pulling a bunch of money out in a year, I may not want to touch the market at all. But if I'm 22 years old and I have a long investment horizon, then maybe I take on a portfolio of riskier companies because I can wait out the storm. I can invest the money, and if I don't need the money, that I can, or if I'm a person who's gonna need my cash soon, or if I'm a person who's gonna retire soon, or if I'm a person who can't stomach risk. All these factors come into play in terms of knowing what you want to invest in and how and why. To give you an example, with the options class, we would talk about lower risk companies, but we also talk about higher risk companies. And I show them exactly how I mess with a Bed Bath and Beyond. But the thing about it is that one, you not only have to know what you're doing, but you have to also know what you can stomach. So even if you know what you're doing, again, think about it like this. Imagine if we're going into the most dangerous neighborhood in El Salvador, which is known for violence and gang activity and everything else. And I say, oh, yeah, I can take you through my neighborhood because I know this neighborhood really well and I have a gun. right? So you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm safe. I'm with Boyce. He knows his way around the neighborhood, and he has a weapon. He's safe. Well, that doesn't mean bad things can't happen to me, right? And now I've lowered the probability. But if you ask me if I'm always in this bad neighborhood and I'm always like in these crazy places, chances are I probably have gotten shot at some point. Or I could tell you a story about where my security wasn't enough, but I had to sort of be willing to endure all that, knowing that there's no fail safe. There's no way to kind of go in this situation without there being some type of risk. So the analogy is if you look at a meme stock, even people like me who really know what we're doing, we can still get burned too. And if you're not willing to get burned, so it's not just a matter of being, really prepared. It's a matter of like how willing are you to possibly get burned, even if you are prepared. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like not being prepared means you're definitely probably going to get burned, right? Right. I mean, really, with was it not AMC, Bed Bath and Beyond. I felt like there was tremendous market manipulation in Bed Bath and Beyond. When I heard about that 21-year-old who made $110 million, and then I saw Ryan Cohen, another guy that they were all following, he made $80 million, and I looked at what they did and how they did it. I said, oh, they made money from the suckers. They sucked all these poor people in and got them to buy on the upward trend. They got them to buy when the stock was high, and then they dumped their shares on these people who were willing to overpay for this stock because they thought it was going to keep going up. And I believe that Cohen sent a clear signal to say that as an insider, he believed the company was going to keep going up. So a lot of people bought into that, but he wasn't buying into his own BS. He was selling at the same time he was getting everyone else to buy. And I was furious when I saw it, and I talked about it because I want you guys to understand that when you're talking about playing with a meme stock, it's like being in a dirty poker game, with gangsters who cheat. So they might kill you and they're gonna like fix the cards and all this other stuff. If you get into a dirty poker game, you better know how the game works. You better know your way around. So ultimately, I think overall, in general, learning your investment preference is really what this class is all about. It's really sort of helping you understand the landscape, helping you understand what's going on. And one thing I can tell you, still, I repeat this, and I'm going to say it again: the biggest mistake you can make as an investor is when you're not investing at all. No, that's it. If you're not invested at all, you are literally making the most colossal economic error that a person can make in America right now. You have to invest if you want your family to have some wealth long term. If you don't, then I don't know how you're going to do it, to be honest with you. Okay, so I have a meeting I have to get to, and I hope you guys gained something from class today. If you want to get the recording, or if you can't make class 1 week or something, we meet every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Just go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can log in. Everything is there. You also have access to what Dr. Boyce is buying. So there's like a list of stocks there that I pick for you every Sunday. So feel free to go take a look at that list. These are companies that I believe in, that I'm invested in. I'm putting my money in there long term. So feel free to go take a look at that too. All right. So have a good day, everybody. And it was great talking to you. Next week, I'm gonna let you unmute again, and we'll just see where that takes us. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.